Hello viewers, welcome to this special series of Sansad TV, Rashtra Nirman One Step Higher. I am Suman Arora. Today we will interact with Adil Zainul Bhai, the current chairman of the Capacity Building Commission of India. The commission, established on 1st April 2021, is dedicated to enhancing the capabilities of India's civil services. With Mission Karm Yogi, the CBC seeks to transform India's civil services into an accountable, citizen-centric and effective public service, thereby contributing to the nation's governance and development. In addition to his role at the CBC, Adil Zainul Bhai holds several prominent positions, including Chairman of the Quality Council of India, Chairman of Network 18 Group, and Independent Director on the boards of Reliance Industries, Larsen & Toubro and Cipla. Adil Zainul Bhai's leadership extends beyond the corporate sector. He has been actively involved in various government initiatives aimed at enhancing India's administrative capabilities. Let me welcome Adil Zainul Bhai in our Sansad TV studio to better understand the CBC and Mission Karm Yogi, its contribution towards nation building and how it will impact our students and future generations. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I welcome you to Sansad TV.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Thank you, sir. Before we take this conversation forward, let's have a look at this report first.
Building a more efficient, accountable and citizen-centric civil service. This is the mission of the Capacity Building Commission of India. Established on April 1st, 2021, the Capacity Building Commission, CBC, is a key pillar of Mission Karm Yogi, India's ambitious initiative to transform its civil services. The Commission plays a crucial role in designing competency-driven training frameworks, improving governance structures and fostering a performance-driven culture in public service. As of 14th of February 2025, Capacity Building Commission of India has trained 3,82,667 personnel in the nearly 4 years of its existence. It has engaged with 107 ministries and departments. It has made 100 collaborations with training institutes and 9 state-level interventions. By focusing on capacity building, skill enhancement and leadership training, CBC ensures that government officials are equipped to tackle modern governance challenges effectively. With Mission Karm Yogi, the CBC is paving the way for a new era of public administration, one that is responsive, transparent and aligned with the aspirations of a new India. The Capacity Building Commission of India is strengthening the backbone of Indian governance for a brighter future.
So what is the Capacity Building Commission's overarching vision for the country for contributing to Rashtra Nirman and for reaching the goal of Viksit Bharat 2047? And also, how does it align with the broader goals of sustainable development and inclusive growth in India?
Honorable Prime Minister set up the Capacity Building Commission. It didn't exist before. And his idea was that we need to get the civil services of India, all civil servants, the center, which is 3 million, states, which is 22 million, urban local bodies, which is another 5 million, so local bodies and panchayats. So it's a very large number.
Right.
And how can we improve the effectiveness of the civil servants to deliver towards Viksit Bharat by improving their competencies to do it? So that was his idea. And he felt that just doing what we were doing before in terms of building their competencies would not get them ready, one, for the future, right, because they were not getting sufficient training and thinking about the future. Yes. Second, in terms of citizen centricity, which is how can all civil servants be the servants of the citizen as opposed to the rulers of the citizen, right? So how do we get that mind shift? And third, how can we use technology to accelerate development? So those were his thoughts, and he said, how can we make the civil service better for these three? And he tasked the Capacity Building Commission of India to say, please start initially building up everyone's competencies. So that was how it was done. And right at the beginning, it was to deliver against something like Viksit Bharat. At that time, Viksit Bharat was not really framed out, right? But we talked about the future, India is a $5 trillion economy, etc. So the idea of competency building is always towards a goal. When we first started, we talked to 100 experts around the world in many other parliamentary democracies, Singapore, Australia, Japan, Korea, China, UK. We talked to human resources people in Google, Apple, McKinsey, Deloitte, everywhere. And we talked to lots of people in the Indian government about what does it take to do this. And one of the lessons that came out of that, which we believe very strongly, is you're building competencies towards getting something accomplished. Right? You're not doing it just for the heck of it. You're doing it to get something done.
Sir.
So therefore, all of the design was around how do we train our civil servants so they can move towards Viksit Bharat. So that is how everything ties together.
Right,
And the competency building is to get us there.
Also sustainable development and inclusive
Right. So in Viksit Bharat,
yes,
everything is
everything
there.
is
Sustainability,
right.
Development, becoming a major player in the world.
Right, sir.
All of those combined is what is the dream for Viksit Bharat.
Right, sir. So could you share with us as to whether there is any specific framework or any model that CBC has developed to enhance the skill development of civil servants and to improve their core competencies? Those who are working especially for Viksit Bharat.
So, the first thing we did is something that we don't often do as an Indian government, right? But if you were a consumer goods company and you wanted to build a product for a consumer, you would go and ask the consumer, what do you want?
Oh, yes.
Right? What do you like? So, in this case, since we were training civil servants, what we did is we went and asked a very large number of civil servants what would be helpful for them. So, Suman, I would come to you and say, Suman, to do your job better,
Right, sir.
what skills and competencies do you think you need? Which ones do you have and which ones would you like to improve on? So, what happens is if you ask people what they want and then ultimately give them what they want, the chances that they will actually use it are very high.
Right, sir.
But sometimes in the past, what we do as government civil servants is we say, I know what's good for you. Right? So, in this case, we said instead of doing that, we'll come and ask each civil servant. And we actually did that across 100 ministries. I think we covered 100,000 people. And so, we asked each person in any role, all the way from MTS, right, all the way to the chief secretaries of states to secretaries in the government of India. What do you need to do your job better?
They must have felt heard for the first time, maybe.
Well,
heard and connected.
See, sometimes you ask a question and nobody wants to answer, right? But sometimes you ask a question and people just let loose, right? So in this case, it was, oh, great, you're asking me.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you, I want A, B, C, D, E. And when we first heard it, we couldn't believe some of it. So let me give you an example. At every level in every ministry, when we asked them, what competencies do you need? Among the top 3 competencies was stress management.
Stress management.
Stress management. So, which was surprising. I would not have, none of us thought that was something that we could predict. But it came across all levels of government. And so, when we put that framework together, and I'll come back to the framework, and said stress management is very important, we need to get some courses that would allow people to address this issue.
Right.
Many senior bureaucrats said, why are you wasting your time on this? This is nothing, nobody needs this. But when we put it up on iGot, which is the digital training platform, today 700,000 people have taken the course on yoga for the workplace, and 300,000 people have taken the course stress management. So, this is as I said, if you ask people and they say they want something,
Right.
and you actually give them that,
Right, sir.
they will do it. And what is very interesting is, now you might say that, okay, that's fine, everybody else can do it. But I, as a very senior bureaucrat, I want something very mega galactic, right? But it turns out that yoga in the workplace and stress management are the top 3 courses on behavior for every level of the government, which means It's top 3 for MTS, it's top 3 for ASO, SO, Director, JS, Secretary.
Okay.
At every level,
Right, sir.
stress management is among the top 3 courses.
That's very interesting, sir, really. So you just mentioned I got Karma Yogi, and recently Karma Yogi Saptah was also observed.
Yes.
If you could share something about, like, how many courses are there, and what was actually the highlights of what were the
Sure.
highlights of that Saptah?
So let me explain to all the viewers first what I got is.
Right, sir.
So when we did our first 100 people that we talked to, we realized that if you want to train a large number of people, right, not 5, 10, 15, but hundreds of thousands, the fastest way to do that is to build a digital platform, like a learning management system, like Coursera or something like that.
Yes.
So iGot is the Coursera for government civil servants. Okay, that's what it is. Once you log on to that, all courses available on it are free. You can take any course you want.
Okay.
iGot will recommend some courses, right? So it will say, okay, you are an AS in this ministry, so probably these competencies you need. And if somebody else logs on, it will say these competencies you need, so you should take these courses, right? So it varies by that, but everything is free. You can decide not to do those and take any other course.
So one question here,
Sure.
like everything is free, you are saying there are so many interesting courses. So is it only for civil servants or anybody can do it, any student, any young professional?
No, right? For the present,
For the present.
because we are just starting,
Right.
it is now limited to civil servants. But I'll come back to that, right? So now let me get to Saptah, right, that we did. It was called the National Learning Week or Karma Yogi Saptah. So 2 years ago, January of 2023, when the platform was first built, iGot, we had about 200,000 users and 200 courses. Today, on January, middle of January 2025, 2 years later, we have 8 million users and 1,800 courses.
Wow.
Okay? So the growth
That's
has
tremendous.
been tremendous.
Really
One of the things that drove the growth was Karma Yogi Saptah. So, it's a marketing problem, right? Which is, okay, you have all these courses, but people would say, I don't have time to take it. It's not the top of my mind. Why should I take it? So the idea was to create an event and excitement. And if you have that excitement, then people say, okay, I have to do something.
Right.
So Karma Yogi Saptah was 1 week in October, launched by Honorable PM.
Right, sir.
And Honorable PM said, I expect every civil servant to do a minimum of 3 hours of courses during this week. Okay? And in addition to the courses, we had talks by very famous people, and we had 24 talks during that week, 4 a day. And it counts as one course, right? So you have to do 3 courses, you can listen to 3 talks. So what happened because of all this excitement and the fact that we were tracking every day who took what course, which ministry did well, on an average day before Karma Yogi Saptah, we did about 30,000 courses a day, roughly. During Karma Yogi Saptah, we did 800,000 courses a day. So, right. So it built excitement, and a lot of people who had not taken any course took one, and they said, it's not so bad. Isme kuch na kuch to hai. I learned something, right? So what happened is it created that buzz.
Yes, right.
So people liked the buzz. And those 24 speakers that we had speakers who talked about Indian history, AI, genomics, sports, music, quite a lot of different areas, right? And so what happened as a result of that is they said, I learned something.
Yes.
And every course on it today is 1 hour or less. So if you're sitting in a Delhi traffic jam, you can get your phone out, and on your phone you
complete
can take
that
a course. Right?
Yes.
Our goal is, when we talk to people around the world, including the Singaporeans, they said even 1 hour is quite long. You should do 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then they said, but our most popular courses are 7 minutes.
Okay.
So 7 minutes, you're waiting for a meeting, you can watch. So we are not there as yet. We'll get there. But right now we are making it very easy. All courses are 1 hour long.
Okay.
Right. So for example, one of the courses we had, because PM says look in the future.
Right, sir.
We created a course called Emerging Technologies, which is technologies that will change the world. And this happened before the AI boom. Okay, so 2 years ago we had this course called Emerging Technologies. It talked about AI, genetics, etc. It was designed for very senior people, yet 400,000 people took it. 4 lakh people took a course that was designed for 2,000 people.
Oh my God.
And the reason they took it, including CISF Jawans, constables, CRPF, Safai Karmacharis, MTS. And the reason they took it is so we called them and said, why are you taking this? It's not as, I mean, yes, you can take it. We're very happy.
Yes.
But why are you taking it? It's not really meant for you. And their reaction, I think, was what the PM wants to talk about, right? Which is, he said, people should want to learn.
Yes.
Right? We don't want to force them to learn. They should want to learn, and they should have a lifelong learning
Yes.
idea, right? So in this case, what happened is the CISF people said, we have never ever had access to anything that is designed for secretaries,
Okay.
right? Or DGs of police or others, right?
Right.
Who gives them that,
For
right?
seniors,
For
yes.
seniors.
Ah.
So if you're giving it to us, why shouldn't we learn? If it's good for them, it should be good for us.
It's very interesting.
And then they said that maybe we will learn something. Maybe we'll get better in our jobs. Maybe we will get another job, right? So I think what we found is that a lot of people, class C and D officers, on whom we don't focus for competency building, were really open. I mean, you know, you give them something, they're going, great, I want to do this. And many of the seniors said, you know, I know quite a lot. I don't know if I really want to do this.
Correct.
But what happened as a result, and this is why I'm giving you the whole story because of how it plays
Yeah,
out,
it's so interesting, sir.
is when a senior person would have an officers meeting or a meeting of all the people reporting to them, and you know, a weekly meeting or a monthly meeting, and say, what, oh, is this karmyogi ho raha hai? Kya kiya? So, you know, somebody would get up and say, sir, I took emerging markets, emerging technologies. I think we can apply AI to do this in my ministry. And the senior would say, listen, I am supposed to know this, not you.
Right.
So if you know it,
Yes. So there must be something
I better
in that
learn. No,
course,
I
yes.
better learn it
Ah.
because I have to, you know, be about.
Of
So what
course.
happened is, most of the times you go top down,
Right.
right? We
Right.
get an order saying you will do this.
Right, sir.
In this case, the surprising thing was it went bottom up. You know, people in group C and D did the courses. Then the senior people saw that they are understanding something better than I am. But this is an area that I should understand.
Right.
And so then they started taking courses. And then during Karmyogi Saptah, we tracked how many secretaries and additional secretaries and joint secretaries took courses. And almost 100% of them took courses during that time. And in fact, I think one secretary took 27 courses.
Okay.
There were many who took more than 4 courses during the week.
Okay.
Not just 4 courses overall, but 4 courses during the week. So I think it has created
That's
a buzz.
a buzz.
And so National Learning Week or Karmyogi Saptah did the most important thing, which is it created a buzz. And once people tasted it, they said, oh, it's, you know, it's not so bad.
Right.
Or I even learned something. So now let me take some more courses and more courses.
So how does the commission collaborate between various government departments, private sector entities and international organization to ensure that there is a holistic view towards capacity building, towards Rashtra Nirman, and then we have to reach the goal of Vikasit Bharat by 2047?
So first of all, this is not a CBC initiative in that sense, right? This is all of government initiative.
Right.
So we work very closely with every ministry. So let me explain, and then I'll go to the international players, right?
Right.
So we are not saying to any ministry, these are the courses you should take, right? What we did is we helped the ministry figure out what they needed, and we are providing that for the ministry. Okay. So it is the ministry. If the ministry did not participate in that, then they would not know what they wanted.
Right.
Right. So now they know, and so they're very keen to get it. So our collaboration with the ministry is very strong in defining competency and in getting courses from them.
Okay.
So let's say that you are Commerce Ministry. Okay. So the Commerce Ministry will say, you know, I need to have all my people understand WTO. Right? I need them to understand free trade agreements.
Right.
I need them to understand non-tariff barriers. I need them to understand traceability of fruits and vegetables, etc. Right? So now I want courses on all of those.
Right.
Some of the courses will come from the ministry because they have experts in the ministry. But many of them will come from universities. So IITs are giving us courses, IIMs are giving us courses, universities are giving us courses, foundations are giving us courses, NGOs are giving us courses, and international agencies like World Bank, ADB are giving us courses, and some international universities are giving us courses. But 90% of the courses that we want in India,
Right.
because then they are contextually correct, right? So they're coming from India, from everywhere. So when you collaborate,
Yeah.
it isn't CBC sitting and writing courses, right?
Right,
It is,
right.
we're getting the right person
Right.
who knows that subject to create the course and put it on, because then it also makes sense for the person who's taking it, can see that it makes sense. I'll give you 2 examples,
Right.
just for the fun of it. You know, there are thousands of people who need to understand Indian agriculture, right? Everyone, because there's agriculture ministry, there's Department of Agriculture Research, there are thousands of people in the state, block education officers, block officers for agriculture, etc. There's a huge number. Many of them came from other ministries, so they don't understand what is agriculture, and nobody gives them time to learn it.
Right.
So we with the help of the ministry, created a course called Introduction to Indian Agriculture.
Okay.
1 hour.
1 hour.
It describes what happened to Indian agriculture from 1947,
Right.
independence, to today.
That's amazing.
It's fabulous. I would encourage you to take it.
Yes, of course.
So
I
now this course is going to be has been taken already by some 50,000 people,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And the same thing we want to do in many other areas. So for example, I'll give you another example. Vikram Misri, who is the MEA secretary,
Right.
a very articulate speaker, outstanding. We said a lot of people need to understand what is the basis for India's foreign policy. You know, not the confidential stuff, but how should we think about foreign policy? So he gave a course on Introduction to Indian Foreign Policy, which traces our foreign policy from 1947 to today. And you know, it is such a brilliant exposition. Every foreign service officer has to see it. And they do, by the way, right? So the day we had that seminar, 15,000 people watched it across. So that's what we're doing, right?
Right,
We're trying to get the best person wherever they are.
Are there any challenges when it comes to implementation of these programs and initiatives that are there, especially in underdeveloped regions or rural areas?
So, you know, I used to have hair before I started this. So it isn't, it is, if you talk about challenges, of course, there were a huge number of challenges. And we continue to have them today.
Right.
Let me highlight 3 or 4.
Right.
And which we're working on. Number one, you know, not everyone has access to a desktop. In fact, the vast majority don't have access to a desktop.
Right.
If at all, they have access to a mobile phone. So we had to make it such that people can take courses on mobile phones, number one. Number two, a large number of people in the states really need it in their language, right? So if you are in an urban local body in Telangana, you need the course in Telugu, otherwise you're not going to understand it, right? So we are now in the process of converting our 1800 courses into 10 to 12 major languages.
That's good.
So that it's available to everybody in their language. So when you go down to the state level and you go down to the block level and the panchayat level, it has to be in their language.
Right. So you're customizing according to their
Right.
needs and
So
linguistic diversity and all.
exactly.
Right.
And you know, then when we did some courses in Hindi, you know, the people in Rajasthan said, "Bhai, ye Hindi nahi chalega.
Oh,
We need, you know, our Hindi."
so we gave them their Hindi?
So we are working on it. I'm
Working,
not
but
saying that
that's
we have it
interesting.
figured out, right?
But then
And in
it's-
Punjab, they said Punjabi, we need Punjabi. You know, so I think one challenge is language, right? Second challenge is not so much today, but 4 years ago, connectivity was a huge issue. Now connectivity is not so much an issue. Everyone can get connectivity wherever
yes,
they
yes.
are. But even then, they don't have good enough connectivity to do the course online. So we have to find a way for them to do it. Right? Third thing is you can give the course, but how do you figure out if people have learnt anything?
Right.
And they're doing something. So what we do is, at the end of every course, there is a quiz, a very short quiz, 5-minute quiz. But you don't get the certificate for the course until you pass the quiz, right? So some people said, people will just play it in the background while they're doing their work, and they've taken the course. But you can't really do it because
Right.
you have to take the quiz.
Right.
So we learned that.
So at CBC, how do you ensure that the capacity building programs that you have made, so these not only enhance their technical knowledge, but also instill in them that accountability and ethical governance, and also citizen-specific service delivery?
It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that, because one piece of what we're doing is digital programs.
Right.
The other piece is a physical one-day program to teach everyone Seva Bhav and
Right.
citizen centricity.
Right, sir.
Okay. So we've trained 1 million people on this last year, and we aim to train 1 million people on it this year. So last year we took ticket collectors, ticket window clerks, postal employees, policemen, and trained them on a 1 or 2 day program on learning Seva Bhav, ethical governance, etc.
Okay.
Every civil servant in Haryana has gone through an ethical governance 1-day program.
Okay.
Right? So we are trying to do both. Some things you can do digitally and some things you have to do in person.
So what would be your message to the students and young professionals who are in the prime of their youth and who still have 22 years to reach 2047, and they are going to play a crucial role? How can they maximize their efforts for contributing to Rashtra Nirman so that we can realize the goal of Viksit Bharat by 2047?
I think for the younger people, right, for the youth, they're going to be the beneficiaries of this, right? We will do something in the next few years, but we might not even be around to see it.
Right.
But they see it. So what I tell young people is, you will be the beneficiaries of what India will be in 2047.
Right, sir.
So you have to get involved in making sure we get there.
Right.
How do we get there, and what do I tell the young people, right? Which is, you should look to see what can you do to help the country grow, and how can you contribute to doing it. So for example, we have laid out very clearly what are some of the areas in which India should become a leader, right? So if you are in college, are you really paying attention to AI and science and genomics and ethics? Are you really equipping yourself for the things that are necessary to build Viksit Bharat? Right? So that's the first thing I tell them, which is, if you're not doing those things, one, you're already falling behind everyone else, because people in other parts of the world are really doing well on this. Yes. But as you think about it, don't think about just what can I do to make more money, right? How will my education teach me to make more money? But also think about, what do I need to know so that I help create Viksit Bharat? That I'm, as a citizen, I'm helping to create what I will need to live, right? So that is what I've been telling people and saying, you should always keep a part of your mind, not just on furthering your career, but also how in that career itself you can help the country get there.
So thank you so much for giving your precious time and such wonderful, insightful inputs. Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. Thank you. Thank you. That's all for this episode of Rashtra Nirman. You can see how different institutions of our country are contributing towards nation building through their courses, initiatives, and overall endeavors. We'll meet you in the next episode with another prominent person from another esteemed institution. Till then, keep watching Sansad TV.
संसद टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा यूट्यूब चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।